What's going on? So today I'm reviewing a game that's in a genre that I don't normally play too much of anymore. That is the competitive first-person shooter, and that game is Overwatch. So this is the PlayStation 4 version. I suggest you pick it up on PC if you have the means. You can get it a little bit cheaper that way. You get access to the PTR or public test room where you can test upcoming changes, where Blizzard, that's the developer, puts changes that may or may not be in the final release, so you get a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's down to whether you want to use a mouse and keyboard or a controller, and what server you want to play on. So all my buddies play on PS4, that's where I usually play, but at the end of the day, it's the same game, same core mechanics, everything like that. So let's talk about it in the main review.
Grant, do you record that?
If you went ahead and watched a review about Overwatch that was posted during the initial release month, May of 2016, you'll realize the common denominator they share: not enough content or unfinished game. Fast forward a year and a half later, Overwatch has added 9 new maps, 4 new characters, tons of new game modes, and has over 35 million registered players worldwide as of October 2017. What I really think sets Overwatch apart from the Halos and the Call of Duties of today is the value you get from it. We've been getting new maps, new characters, new holiday events ever since the release, so you're really getting your money's worth with this game. What I talk about might not be relevant a year from now. Overwatch is a living, breathing game. There's a new character and map in the pipeline as we speak, so let it be known I'll be reviewing the version last patched on October 17th, 2017. When you boot up the game, Overwatch plays a cinematic. This is the only direct exposition you'll get regarding Overwatch's story. All current 26 characters have a connection in some form or another to Overwatch, a group formed by the United Nations to keep peace during the Omnic Crisis, a war between humanity and robots. Overwatch successfully ended the war and continued to fight terrorism worldwide. 20 years after the group's founding, public outrage forced the group to disband due to corruption, mismanagement, and high-profile mission failures. Another 10 years pass, and this is where the game begins, with Winston, the guerrilla scientist, signaling all former members to group up and move some carts, and capture objectives.
You already know this.
There's a ton more story and lore Blizzard has put online in the form of comics and short CG movies, but there's absolutely no single-player campaign to be found. Characters will speak to one another before multiplayer matches, revealing information about their relationships. Other than that, the game doesn't really force anything upon the player. It's simply there if you want it. Upon beginning a game of Overwatch, your objective will vary depending on the map. Assault is a 2-point objective game type where one team tries to occupy points long enough until the bars fill up, while the other team attempts to defend the points. Escort has one team pushing a payload along a set path with checkpoints throughout, while the other teams try to stop it and run the timer down. The hybrid game type is a combination of Assault and Escort that begins with one assault point and ends with a shortened Escort route. Control. 2 teams fight over a series of objective areas in a best-of-3 format where each round is on a new map. 3v3 or deathmatch. Kill the other people. The game types are designed to be very teeter-totter-like. One big play can change momentum. It's exhilarating to jump on an objective point with only a smidge of the overtime bar remaining and have your whole team rally behind you to capture it. And on the other hand, absolutely heartbreaking to be reverse swept in Control or steamrolled in an Escort overtime round.
Double kill.
Next, you'll be asked to select a character from the 26-man roster. By the way, that's more characters than Street Fighter V shipped with. The cast is roughly divided into 4 roles: offense, defense, tanks, and support. You'll soon find there are even more ways to categorize these characters, i.e. builders, snipers, hit scan, shields, etc. Characters have active abilities. These are abilities with cooldown and activate immediately upon button press, and they have passive abilities, abilities that are ongoing and depend on external factors to activate. For example, Reaper receives health for 20% of the damage he deals to opponents. This makes him a great choice for hunting down characters with larger health pools. Now that we have our map and our character, all that's left is to put it all together with some good old-fashioned teamwork.
Well, you fucking play like a fucking trash can, so I don't believe you.
Yeah, no, we can still do this.
I must go where I'm needed.
Hey, Farrah, can you wait for me?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, I'm coming right now.
You needed a drop.
Mercy's low.
If you guys don't win that fight, I'm dumbfounded.
There we go.
I'm here.
Hey, so check out your gold damage again, by the way, and tell me how big your dick is.
You can honestly
just
say that. Are
explain
you
to me
proud of that?
how large your cock is right now. Because all you seem to care about is how big your dick is.
The dicks are being brought in.
I mean, all he seems to
why you
care
wanna know
about
how
is
big my
gold
dick
damage and how large his dick is, so it's kind of fucked up.
Bro, you're the only one talking about
man
dicks
needs to
here.
prioritize.
Junkrat's a hit.
I'm gonna res you, Rustful.
Yeah, Raz and
So we've gotten 2 people.
Going hard.
3 people.
Alright, I'm going ult.
Make sure to get that
Mercy's
Mercy. Get that Mercy.
Mercy's low, Mercy's low.
I got her.
Job, Grant.
Getting your team to plan and execute together is a good 50% of the challenge. It's about compromise and communication. Truth be told, I don't even need to show footage of Overwatch because these Belgian bus commercials illustrate this concept just as well as a professional tutorial. One of the most important parts of executing big plays together with your team is the timing and location of ultimate abilities. Similar to a super move in Street Fighter, these ultimates fill when sending out damage and slowly over time, and can then be activated when 100% is obtained. Ultimates like Zarya's and Reinhardt's can be used to immobilize a group of opponents. You can then throw in a Hanzo or McCree ult to immediately change the momentum of the game. If you have the highest stat in a category like eliminations, damage done, or healing, you will see a small golden medal next to it in the status screen. Being able to measure your own stats is great and nothing is wrong with friendly competition, but during competitive play, the chat is for planning and strategy, not boasting about medals.
You see, the difference between me and you is this is your Smurf and you go hard on it, right? And you get 3,800 going hard on it. I get 3,800 fucking around with a Junkrat. So,
Are you kidding me?
you're honestly, you think you're good, you think you're all that, and you think you're like the fucking best, but you're really not. You're really honestly just
No,
trash.
I know I am.
From the main menu, Overwatch gives you a lot of things to do nowadays. There's the practice range to, well, practice. Arcade, this is where holiday events can be accessed if one is active. Junkenstein's Revenge and Uprising being my favorites so far, as they do a great job of showing what a PvE style Overwatch would be like. You can also access custom games here and elimination style matches that change from week to week. Quick play is 6v6 for Assault, Escort, Hybrid, or Control maps. This is your unranked standard match used for practice for competitive play. If you select the competitive option, the game will attempt to match you with players around your skill level and place you in a map that you didn't just play. At the time of this recording, we are on the 7th season of competitive Overwatch. Each season lasts 50 to 89 days, with a small break in between. You begin by playing 10 placement matches that supposedly determine your skill rating, or SR. Having participated in all 7 seasons myself, I can attest that the placements mean just as much as a standard competitive match, and that your SR will be largely determined on what you were placed last season. I think that it would make the start of a season more exciting if more weight was placed in the placement matches and help the seasons not blend together so much. There are some restrictions dependent on your SR, such as not being able to group up with players within a certain range, which can be an annoyance when trying to play with friends of a different SR, but it's there for a good reason. All of these game modes earn you experience that can buy loot boxes with skins, voice lines, sprays, and more. Alternatively, you can spend real money for loot boxes, but everything here is cosmetic, so there's no real reason to do it unless you have money to burn.
Stop right there. 60 seconds.
Being that this is Blizzard's first go at a first-person shooter, let alone first new IP since StarCraft, the game controls tightly and everything that is movable has a nice weight to it. Different characters have different movement speeds and easily recognizable animations and sound cues. It doesn't take long to know how to respond when you hear D.Va's or McCree's ult sound cue.
It's high noon.
Compared to your everyday competitive shooter, it takes quite a few bullets to kill your opponents, further encouraging team play. You can really tell when you're biting off chunks of health or just pecking. There's nice animation of the health bar falling alongside the dink sound effect you get. The presentation of Overwatch is fantastic. It runs at a blazing 60 frames per second. The most noticeable difference in presentation between the PC and console version is the speed at which character models are drawn at the character select screen. On console, you can see some textures loading in at lower res at first. It's a very small nitpick, but better than having dropped frames. Music is also a major win. You'll never get tired of hearing the opening orchestral score or the play of the game theme. Overwatch feels like a breath of fresh air in a world bogged down by realistic battlefield simulation shooters. With all of the current and upcoming content it offers for the price, I feel like anyone remotely interested in shooters should at least give this a try. So after a year plus, is Overwatch still worth buying? I would say absolutely. It's been a roller coaster of like up and down changes, some good, some bad, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. So if you haven't already, find some friends, preferably some that don't mind playing healer, and start climbing. Thanks and have a good night.
Scoot back, Ryan. I got you, buddy. Right there. Let me give you a big old boost. Keep your shield up, boy. I don't want to get hit by that scatter arrow.
Boy, get that shield up, boy!
Protect
I'm home
me.
alone. I'm home alone
Protect
right now, and I
me.
keep hearing the raccoons, and they're scaring the piss out of me. Grant,
Ryan.
if you can
Take
hear
it
the
easy,
raccoon,
boy.
say understood. Like, often. That shit